Let me ask you something straight up. If I told you that the number most retirement videos throw at you is actually the wrong number, would you want to know the right one? Because here's the truth. Most people are measuring themselves against a stat that's been pulled way out of reality by a small group of very wealthy retirees. And today, I'm going to give you the real benchmark, the one that actually tells you where you stand. We're going to cover what the average retiree earns, what they spend, what their net worth looks like, and the three gaps that quietly derail people who thought they were just fine. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly where you fit. Section 1. The number problem. Before anything else, we need to talk about which number we're even looking at, because this is where most people go wrong. You'll hear that the average retirement income is somewhere around $83,000 a year. And sure, technically that's true, but the median income, the number that actually represents the person in the middle of the pack, is $54,710. That's nearly $30,000 less, so why the gap? Because a small number of very wealthy retirees pull the average way up, making the whole picture look rosier than it is for most people. Here's a simple way to think about it. If 10 people are in a room and 9 of them make $40,000 a year, but one makes $1 million, the average income in that room is over $130,000. Does anyone in that room actually make that? No, that's the trap. The median is your real mirror. The mean is a funhouse mirror. So for the rest of this video, we're using the real number. And in 2026, that real number is a median household income of about $58,680 per year for retirees, which works out to roughly $4,890 a month. And if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to see more videos like this. Section 2. The income reality. Now that we've got the right number, here's what the full income picture actually looks like. Social Security got a 2.8% boost in 2026, bringing the average monthly benefit to $2,071, about $24,852 a year. That's the foundation. But here's the problem with foundations. They hold the house up. They don't furnish it. And when you look at what retirees are actually spending, the foundation alone isn't enough. The average retiree household spends right around $5,000 a month, so you've got roughly $4,890 coming in and $5,000 going out. You're already upside down on the averages. Now, that gap gets bridged by savings withdrawals, pensions, part-time work, or investment income. But what's sobering is that about 12 to 15% of retirees are relying on Social Security for 90% or more of their income. If you're leaning that heavily on one single source, you've essentially built your entire retirement on one leg of a four-legged table. Section 3. Where your money actually goes. A lot of people plan for retirement income, but never sit down and really map out what retirement costs. So let's do that for a second, because this is where people get surprised. According to Bureau of Labor Statistics data, housing eats up about $1,851 a month, roughly a third of everything. Transportation runs about $908. Food is around $713, and health care comes in at $662 a month on average, and that number climbs sharply as you age. Together, those four categories alone account for roughly 85% of a typical retiree's monthly budget. That means everything else, travel, hobbies, gifts for the grandkids, anything that makes retirement actually feel like retirement, has to come out of the remaining 15%. People dream about beach trips and golf, but if your budget is already stretched across the basics, those things don't happen without a real plan. And here's the one that really catches people off guard. A healthy 65-year-old couple can expect to spend over $388,000 on medical expenses throughout retirement, and that doesn't even include long-term care. Healthcare isn't just a line item. It's a slow leak that can drain a retirement account faster than almost anything else. Here's the thing people get wrong about retirement planning. They focus almost entirely on income and forget about net worth. And net worth is actually the more important number. It's simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. That's your score. According to Federal Reserve data, the median net worth for Americans aged 65 to 74 is $409,900. The average is over $1.7 million. But again, that's being pulled up by the top. And when you dig into actual savings, the median 401k balance across all age groups is $144,400. A recent survey found that the typical retiree walks out of the workforce with about $288,700 saved, and nearly 29% retire with no savings at all. Those numbers are humbling. But here's what people who are doing well have figured out. Their biggest asset isn't their 401k, it's their home. Someone who owns their house outright with $200,000 in savings has a fundamentally different retirement than a renter with the same savings. One person has no housing payment eating into their income. The other does. It's not complicated. It's just a math problem that plays out every single month. Debt is what shrinks retirement. Equity is what expands it. People who sleep well in retirement almost universally say the same thing. They're debt-free, and that changes everything. So, where do things go wrong even for people who planned? There are 3 gaps that show up over and over again, and once you know them, you can actually do something about them. The first is the Social Security timing gap. Claiming at 62 permanently cuts your monthly benefit by up to 30%. Waiting until 70 increases it by 8% for every year you delay past full retirement age. Someone with a $2,500 full retirement age benefit would get $1,750 at 62 or $3,100 at 70. Over a 20-year retirement, that difference adds up to roughly $144,000. Claiming early is like cashing in your chips before the game is over. The second is the healthcare gap. Most people budget for housing, food, and transportation. Very few build a real healthcare strategy, and after 65, this becomes the expense that grows while everything else stays flat. One of the most underused tools out there is a health savings account. Contributions go in tax-free, grow tax-free, and come out tax-free for medical expenses. If you're still working and eligible, it's one of the best moves you can make before you retire. The third gap is inflation. Your expenses creep up, your fixed income often doesn't keep pace. And this is why income actually declines across retirement. The median income for retirees aged 60 to 64 is around $83,000. By the time people are 75 and older, that figure drops by nearly 43%. Inflation doesn't care how old you are. The best defenses are delaying Social Security, keeping a portion of your portfolio in growth assets, and going into retirement with as little fixed-cost debt as possible. So, what's the actual target? Financial planners suggest that for a comfortable retirement in 2026, individuals need somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000 a year, and couples should aim for $80,000 or more, adjusted for where you live. The 80% rule is a good starting point. Plan to replace about 80% of your pre-retirement income. For savings, the 4% rule gives you a simple benchmark. If you have $500,000 saved, you can withdraw about $20,000 a year. And, historically, that money should last 30 years. Beyond formulas, the retirees who feel most secure tend to check the same boxes. The house is paid off or close. There's no high-interest debt. Social Security timing has been thought through. Income is coming from at least 2 or 3 sources, and there's a real healthcare plan, not just hope that Medicare will cover everything. Here's what I want you to walk away with. The real median retirement income in 2026 is about $58,680 a year, not the inflated number you'll see thrown around. Most retirees have a gap between what they earn and what they spend, and Social Security was never designed to close that gap on its own. Your net worth, especially your home equity, is the single biggest lever you have. And the 3 things that quietly wreck retirement are bad Social Security timing, no healthcare strategy, and underestimating inflation. None of these are unfixable, but you have to actually look at them. And if you want to learn more on retiring, make sure to watch this video.